Hello, Internet.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
It's so good to see everybody. Yeah. Glad to have a lovely audience like yourselves settled in front of us today. Got a wonderful, wonderful show. As you might unfortunately see, we're down a player this evening, but we must continue the show nonetheless. And continue we shall. I am your host, or DM, or something along those lines. Name's Jason, at Just Jason, please, on Twitter. So happy to be here on the Nerdsmith Network, especially during this lovely little sub-drive we've got going on. But more on that later. I got to tell you who I'm joined here today with. Well, they can tell you themselves. Rachel, why don't you go ahead and give us a little spiel, huh?
That's me, huh? Yes. Hi, I'm Rachel. You can find me on Twitter at Talanier. I'm also on Tumblr and stuff, but I don't think anyone uses that anymore.
It's possible they use it, maybe.
Maybe. So yes, super excited for today. It's been too long since I've got to play Mercy, and yeah, you might know me as someone who does art occasionally. That's kind of one of my jams. And I had the privilege to draw the lovely characters from this awesome show, so super fun, and yeah, just been really looking forward to this evening and can't wait to get back into it.
Wonderful to hear. Wonderful to have you back as well. It's so good to see you. Opposite our player this evening, we have the the ever wonderful, the ever lovely Angela. I'm sure that the people already know who you are, but you know.
Maybe.
For those who might be joining us for the first time.
Rachel, you saying it's evening. Let me just thank you for joining us. I know it's late for you.
It's not that late.
Well, fair. All right, so I'm Angela. You can find me at darling_gypsum. I'm a creator on a multitude of shows here on Nerdsmith, and I am super duper happy to be back in the driver's seat to play Jovie, and I'm prepared with my refreshment for the evening.
So am I.
It's secret. It's the same contents as yours.
Hopefully, maybe. We'll see how the night goes on.
And Heavenly gives you all her best. She wanted to be here, but circumstances have prevented her from doing so.
Unfortunately.
We will soldier on.
Soldier on without the Keeper of the Ledger this evening, with a little bit of a flashback, or a little bit of a backstory. It'll be fine, don't worry. Title's Saturday Night's Alright, so it shouldn't be any problem. Certainly not in reference to a certain song or anything like that. But I suppose before we get into it, we should probably give a word or two to our sponsors and our lovely little sub-drive that we've got going on. How about we do that at the top?
Sure.
I can take it. You can take it.
Take a swing. Take a swing at it. Go for it.
All right, I'll take a swing. As many of you joining us may know, this is the Nerdsmith sub-drive currently going on for 2019. Got a whole palette of wonderful guests, and both as stars and DMs joining us over the week to help generate some support, direct support for the network that you are currently watching with your eyes, or listening to with your ears, or somehow sensing by some exterior force. In any case, obviously what we do is kind of weird and wonderful in the most creative of ways, and through your direct support we can continue to do these weird and wonderful things for the foreseeable future. If you go right now to nerdsmith.org/subdrive, that's SUBDRIVE, you can learn all the wonderful ways in which your direct support can help our network, and indeed can determine a tier that is most comfortable for you. We've got tiers starting at 5 going up to 35 with lovely little gifts scattered throughout. So again, if you just go ahead and visit the link in chat, or again, nerdsmith.org/subdrive, can learn all about how your support can help carry us to loftier heights and pardon, help us continue to generate marvelous content. Now, Angela, is there anything that I missed?
I can go over really quick some of the cool things that you can get. It'll be
Ooh, that would be nice.
basic. You can check out, like Jason said, you can check out the website to find where everything goes. But a preview of some of the things that you can get as being a subscriber includes an exclusive 2019 Subdrive enamel pin that we're designing. It's going to be very fun. I'm excited about that. All subscribers get access to our to special Discord channels exclusive for subscribers. And you get access to all of our bonus content. So any extra episodes or special one-shots or little flights of fancy that the shows do, we put them in there as a thank you to the people that help support the network. We have our piece of bonus content for the Subdrive is our Session Zero, so you can watch us flounder around trying to get our accents right and figuring out how we all ended up on board. So you can get a little glimpse of that sort of initial impetus for how we all ended up in the crew of Final Rites. So you should go check that out. If you're already a subscriber, go check out our bonus loot section, or go to the Final Rites page. At the very bottom, you can find our bonus content there, and you can watch that. You also, at certain tiers, will get access to the Nerdsmith Cookbook, which is our exclusive subscriber cookbook that a bunch of us creators got together and put show-themed recipes. So that's food and drinks and all sorts of fun stuff in there. It's annotated and edited by Pip from Countless Heroes, our editor-in-chef. He has lots of fun little annotations in the margins, and he, I assume, corrects some of the recipes with little line crossouts, but we'll see how it ends up. But you can get a PDF copy, or at our 35 tier, you can get a full printed copy of the cookbook. So you can get a nice little paperback version of it, which would be very, very fun to have. We are also giving away a metal D20 from Die Hard Dice if you subscribe at the $20 or $35 levels. And you also get 50% off nerd alerts, which are personalized messages that you can buy for a particular show to broadcast on the air. So you could send birthday wishes, or just a hi to somebody you care about, or a thank you to your DM. I've heard that before, just like sort of shout out to your game if you want. So you can get 50% off those at $10 a month or more, and you get a free one if you go $20 or more. So there's a bunch of really cool stuff you can get at the different levels, and you should definitely check it out, because we love our subscribers and we want to do as much as we can for everybody. And also $35 level, there's a mug, a custom Nerdsmith mug that is going to be very pretty. So yeah, you get a lot of cool swag and the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping creators make a viable career and a sustainable income from the things that we're passionate about and we love to do. And we value your support and enthusiasm forever. So thank you guys who have already participated, and I hope you'll consider, if you haven't yet, I hope you'll consider supporting us.
Long story short, if you want to help us out, go ahead and just go to the lovely little website, nerdsmith.com/subdrive. Learn all about it.
.org, but yeah.
Or .org. Oh dear.
It's okay.
Nerdsmith.org/subdrive.
It's okay.
Outside of that, however, we do have a couple of lovely little sponsors that we are so proud of to sort of tout and to have on our side throughout this maddening time. One was actually mentioned during your expository, which, by the way, just lovely job on expounding the virtues that can be garnered through subscribing to us directly. Die Hard Dice, purveyor of fine works, and as I understand it, generator of new dice all the time, especially now.
They're working on a lot of colors.
Yeah, with Phoenix coming out April 30th, I want to say. That's their newest set. Beautiful work.
Yeah, they're playing around with two-tone or like multicolored dice. The amount of craftsmanship that goes into painting those, I can't believe that.
Yes, high quality, available in metal, just absolutely divine work by my own personal estimation. Like it's just absolutely incredible. And then our other sponsor, a
Mhm.
lovely company by the name of World Anvil, who has generously provided a little bit of extra incentive to see if we can't uh, get a few lovely people in here in on the hype, I suppose. Angela, you did so well the first time. Why not take a swing for the second?
Sure. World Anvil is just a little background. World Anvil is a website that is a world building suite of tools for storytellers and authors. You have a huge breadth of information that you can put in there to build your world when you're trying to write a story. And there's map functionality, timelines, wiki style articles, all sorts of really, really cool stuff. And we are super, super excited to be partnered with World Anvil. Here at Final Rites, we are slowly adding content to our World Anvil. I just got it looking a little pretty, which I'm very proud of. I'll put it in chat. You can find our World Anvil articles at the link below in chat. It's a little longer of a thing. I'll get a custom URL for us that'll make it easier to say it on chat. But we'll have some PC information up there soon, and our crew roster will be up there, and we'll just be filling it out as we go. Once we learn what we want to tell you all, we will put it in the wiki. But yeah,
Once we know exactly what's going on, we'll let
yes.
you know.
But as Rachel said, there's going to be some pretty art because Rachel so beautifully drew our portraits. So there'll be some really nice character portraits in the articles, and yeah. So you should check it out. And tonight, for in celebration of our sub drive, we have a giveaway from World Anvil, which I am flabbergasted by.
Yes, indeed.
It's one of our nicest giveaways that we have for the sub drive. It's a 12-month subscription at the Grandmaster level, which is insanely good. There's some really, really cool customizable features that you get at the Grandmaster level, and as well as ad-free on your World Anvil. Just as a clarification, it is completely free to use World Anvil with its base suite of features. You can do so much with the free version. The paid tiers they give you some extra elevation to snazz up your experience on the site and customize the way that your World Anvil looks so that it can fit the tone and theme of your story or your campaign that you're running, which, as you can see if you go to our link, I think really enhances the experience tremendously to be able to control how your pages look. So absolutely check out World Anvil, and if you would like to qualify for our giveaway, we will remind you in chat repeatedly over the course of the game, but you can use the code with an exclamation point at the front. Our code is Tiefling Tuesday, and if you type that in, all one word, you will be put into the giveaway for the 12-month Grandmaster subscription to World Anvil. So you should definitely do that. As long as you're not a Nerdsmith creator, you should definitely do that.
Absolutely. If you are in chat at the moment and you've got even a passing interest in World Anvil's products, please go ahead, exclamation point, Tiefling Tuesday. The level of customization that is available to you, just generally with World Anvil, but at the Grandmaster level is beyond insane. Like it's a really, really lovely product, and I couldn't ask for a better sponsor, to be perfectly honest. No offense, Diehard, you're wonderful too.
Both of our sponsors have been incredibly generous and are so good to us. World Anvil, one of the things that I would share about them. Yeah, there's construction on the boat outside of Jovie's room. It's fine. One of the best things about World Anvil is not only is their product really amazing, their community is incredible. They have their own Discord server. Janet and Demetrius, the two heads of the company, are absolutely amazing, and they really value keeping contact with their users. So if you want to not only get a cool product, but join a really solid community that we are so happy to have, the what do you call it? A Venn diagram. We're so happy to share that space with them in the middle of the Venn diagram. You should absolutely check them out, and please participate in our giveaway because they're really cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I believe that's all sponsors and subscription stuff out of the way. Is there something
Only
I'm
other
missing?
thing is we have about 23, 25 people in viewing the stream right now. If we get up to 50, we will have a giveaway for Die Hard Dice as well. We will have a set of Die Hard Dice to give away. So
Aha.
share the fact that we're live. Go check us out at Final Rites RPG on Twitter. I'll put a link in the chat to find us. Retweet our stuff, get people to show up, and we will be closer and closer to being able to do a Die Hard Dice giveaway during the stream as well. Their dice are really pretty.
It's really good. Yeah. It's real good. But yeah, if you're joining us live, welcome. So good to see you. If you're on YouTube watching this at the minute, good to see you. Stop by. When we're
you
live,
should stop by when
we're
live.
Because then you can get in on all this really cool stuff, man. Like, it's real good. But without much.
No. Pause. Did you just go French?
I do not know what you're talking about. This is my normal accent.
You know,
a little bit tired, as some might be able to.
Can one of
He's
the
practicing
NPCs...
for the tired Frenchman NPC.
I was gonna say, can one of the NPCs tonight be that voice, please?
If we get to 50 concurrent viewers.
Hey! I like it. Deal.
So, yeah, go ahead and share the tweet if you haven't already, but I suppose without further ado, welcome aboard. All right. Good to have everybody here. When last we left off this lovely little party, they found themselves tasked with something a little confusing. You see, the Final Rites, a lovely little infernal ship that's traipsing down the river Styx even as we speak, finds itself with a bit of a perplexing puzzle on their hands. Indeed, it seems that individuals, such as Mercy and a few other persons of note, have found themselves capable, or at least with the temporary ability, to shift their presence off and on board the Final Rites willy-nilly. That's obviously of some concern, or at least it would be, to any thinking individual. And so it was that after a brief meeting with the Keeper of the Hull, a lovely dragonborn by the name of Bahazet, it was left to Mercy, Jovie, and Nowhere to meet with Eamon Gallow Dodger. I believe that was the name that I gave him. The keeper of the engines. Basically a chief engineer of the ship. Engineer and artificer, it should be noted. However, as each of you sits at the table where once you met with these remarkable persons, Nowhere seems a little lost in her ledger for a brief moment. And in that briefest of moments, Mercy, Jovie, your eyes meet for but a brief second. Yes, as was so perfectly mimed, Angela, we're going to be taking a little bit of a step back from this present moment. For you see, Mercy was not always at the mercy of Bahazet. At least, not in the same manner. Not even a few scant, weeks, months. Time passes strangely on this ship. But only a while ago, Mercy, your room was not the menagerie of broken and discarded bits from the guest rooms. It was a cell. Not even padded, but molded and decrepit. Unpleasant, to say the least. And though the jailer, Whistler, was as convivial a host as he could be given the circumstances, and nowhere quite a welcome, if a little alien, visitor to receive, it was the same Dragonborn who had locked you up, who subsequently granted you a little lenience. Before we get to that, we see the dim sort of lamp and soul light that sort of pervades this space. Mercy, you've been locked up for, again, with time moving so strangely as it does, you're not entirely sure, but I'd like you to make a perception check. First roll of the evening.
You got it. Okay.
Something easy.
That would be a 10. So delightfully average.
Delightfully so. As the candlelight and such flickers in the mildewed halls of the cells, you note a few persons who are sleeping or otherwise kind of whiling away their moments in these cells. None of them seem to particularly stand out to you, but as heavy footfalls approach your cell, you get the sense that there might be a conversation incoming.
She tries to kind of make her way, I guess, to the cell bars, trying to be as close to the source of the noise as possible, trying to listen in.
A glowering sort of warmth washes across the front of your cell, almost as if there was a bed of roiling coals that was suddenly spilled in front of it. A plume of vicious sort of light blue smoke fills the front of your cell. I'd like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Con saving throw. Ooh, that's not great. That's a... no, it's not a 9, it's a 7.
A 7 total.
Mm-hmm.
It took you a while to get used to Bahazet's very pungent blend of tobacco and rotweed and numerous other sort of narcotic substances that the Dragonborn consumes. But nevertheless, as he unleashes this plume, somewhat aided by his ancestral dragon breath, the smell singes your nose hairs almost and makes you stumble back, much to the delight of the Dragonborn, who chuckles very deeply.
Just glowers at him.
Didn't you know what you were getting into?
No, I would have told you if I did. When do I get out of this shithole?
Well, sooner than perhaps anticipated. He dangles a set of keys in front of you. You recognize them as whistlers, but given your time of familiarity with the jailer, and he softly places a clawed hand on the bars, holding what seems to be a sort of rolled cigarette loosely in between his teeth, since Dragonborn lips, not exactly the best. Too scaly, He twists the key very judiciously and holds the door open.
This isn't some kind of trick, is it?
That, not my department, unfortunately.
That's probably good for me.
I have neither the brains nor the time for such things.
Good to know. And she kind of strides out, but keeping her eyes on him suspiciously, she does so.
He does the same thing, and actually taking a look at him now, in what dim light there is, you actually kind of get a better sense of his stature, and seeing the sort of bronze-ish metallic glare of his scales press against the walls it engenders a sense of size that perhaps is exaggerated within this low light, but as he leans down and sort of tilts his head, you note the sort of tattoo-like markings that adorn his neck and poke out from beneath the sleeves of his shirt.
Mercy's tail is just kind of flicking around as she kind of eyes him, kind of keeping low and acting very much like a very small cat that's kind of vastly bitten off more than it could chew.
Much to my dismay, considering our prior meeting, your name was found on the ledger, and most curiously, it was found to be under my domain.
Yay, I suppose. What does that even mean?
He takes a long drag from his cigarette and sort of blows it away from you, a little bit sort of coming out of his nose. It means that for the foreseeable future, you serve the rites as any other.
Okay, and who do I speak to so that I don't serve the rites? Because I've got places to be, people to see. I'm sure you understand how it goes.
For some, I will admit, like myself, he sort of digs a claw at his clavicle and sort of twists the like half scarf, like really weird, like accessory that sort of adorns his neck, and smirks. For some, service is voluntary. For others, and he points to you, with your name being in the ledger, 'tis not so.
You haven't seen any white tieflings around here, have you, with white horns and white hair? Because that's, I'm pretty sure, the guy that sent me here. I think that's the person you need to have a word with, not me, because I have nothing to do with why I'm here today. And in fact, I think this has been a great big misunderstanding, because I really need to get back to Waterdeep. There are people waiting for me. They're powerful people, definitely. You don't want to keep me away from them.
Make it... I don't know which one, because kind of... I'll say that's a deception check.
Make a verbosity check.
Deception, you say? Let me just check. Nope. 14.
Well, now I gotta check, huh? Ooh. As you are saying this, Bahazet is sort of like... You see his face slightly twitch in sort of sympathy, or what could be maybe construed as that, as he maybe buys a few of the things that you're saying. But as he sort of looks closer, he sort of... Deepest and sincerest apologies to your powerful friends. But service aboard the Rites. 'Tis not something you can abdicate. Well, normally.
Is there like a terms of service? Is there like a, I don't know, minimum years worked aboard the ship or something? Surely there's some kind of exit clause. Demons are... No, I get confused. Devils are all about exit clauses. Or at least loopholes, I guess. I don't know. It's been a while since I actually spoke to one. I don't see a lot of other tieflings.
You see him just take a long drag, just trying to fill his lungs with every single inch that this cigarette has got left in it, before finally exhaling. Sort of like a fog machine, just sort of like letting it cloud around his mouth before finally letting it blow down. Given the, shall we say, confusing and, at the very least, unique situation that you are in, I advise you, perhaps, to ask less questions and follow more orders.
I mean, that depends on the orders, but probably.
Well, you're obviously not incapable of tongue. Are there any other skills you might have?
I mean, I guess I'm pretty fast. I can brew some passable cider. I am pretty good at stealing things. Not that I'm sure that will be of any use on this vessel whatsoever. I play a pretty mean shamisen as well, actually.
God.
Oh, and also I have pretty great guns.
He blinks, looks to your side, looks to your forearms, looks to his own, which are like not doubled in size, but just due to the sheer kind of differences in stature and the draconic sort of blood, like maybe like 1.5. He looks back and sort of nods. Guard for the gambling hall, then, yes?
Sure. I mean, I can do that. Yeah. I mean, do you have any weaponry I could borrow? I mean, I can do a decent job with these, but, you know, can speed up the process.
Speak to the keeper of armament. Bailey, her name is. You won't miss
Sure.
her.
Which way do I go? I have literally no idea where I am.
He finishes off the rest of the cigarette and flicks its sort of ashes from his fingers. Do you know, I almost regret listening to Nowhere. Follow me, you... He grumbles under his breath something in Draconic. Can you speak Draconic?
I cannot.
You don't think it's a compliment?
That's fine. She's used to that.
Nevertheless, he leads you. As you depart from this space, Jovie. It is the the beginning of the end times, almost. At least in terms of sanity and whatnot. Especially considering it's what you... Well, make an intelligence.
Well, I don't think a natural one's gonna get me anything. I'm just working.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a total of 1.
That's a total of 1. Okay, good,
Mhm.
very good to know.
Mm-hmm.
You assume it to be Saturday night, maybe? But what is Saturday? And especially in this place where time moves so effortlessly between planes. Even now you inhabit a plane of undefinable, scale and scope, all filled with smoke. I mean, this could be stranger places where Saturday could be a concept. You lose yourself in this train of thought, meandering from point to point as you contemplate the exact nature of Saturday. And Hamish quickly sort of recognizes this. Bespectacled, again, lenses missing because, but he sort of quickly claps next to your ear, kind of snapping you out of the moment, and blinks a few times. You quite all right there?
Yeah, of course, darling. I'm just, enjoying my work. She would have probably been... Yeah?
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, God. Okay, that's a little better. It's a 15.
Before Hamish intervenes on your behalf, you quickly remember that you had actually been pouring a green tea liqueur of some description, and surreptitiously tilt the bottle backward before the cup overflows. The pardon. The Mephit on the other side, this sort of like golem-esque creature or imp-like creature with like jutting stones out of his head, an earth Mephit, kind of like growls gutturally in response to you almost spilling the drink, but kind of like jumps up in its stool a little bit.
Jovie tries to play it off and sort of with a flourish pointing at Hamish. You see the absolute epitome of synchronicity among our bartenders.
The Earth Mephit is now sort of greedily reaching towards the drink, its short stature preventing it from getting over the bar. Hamish at that point kind of like makes a couple of signs in the air, and suddenly the hands are bound by what seem to be luminous bonds and snapped back onto the counter. The Earth Mephit kind of like curses in Infernal, which you understand every single word perfectly. Something about a pig rutting a goat or jumping a fence. It kind of gets muttered, but Hamish responds in kind, saying something along the lines of, "You'll get your drink when you're ready." Before turning to you,
Right, let me finish this.
advisable. He, in turn, sort of slides to the other side of the bar, entertaining what seemed to be a few, pardon, incubi, usually guards in the gambling hall, but they've stopped by on their break to sort of commiserate. They give you the odd glance as the Mephit, still with his hands bound to the table, kind of maneuvers its fingers trying to reach toward the
While the Mephit's doing that, Jovie's working on a. She has an extra glass overturned, like a little, almost like a little bell jar,
yeah.
and she's currently working on lighting a stick of bark, like a really aromatic bark, underneath this bell jar, and has the glass of the green tea liqueur in that bell jar, so that just as it lights, the smoke just fills that bell jar to create a kind of an effect that'll influence the glass that the green tea's in.
Absolutely. Go ahead and make a just a quick sleight of hand check just to see how this whoop is pulled off.
That is a 25.
Hey, hey.
I'm good at
Perfect.
those.
Perfectly executed, perfectly done. And with grace and aplomb, the I suppose drink is finally delivered to the greedy patron.
It's like a almost a red wine glass, so it's got a bit of a lip on it to keep some of the smoke in. So she'll lift it up, and there's just this plume that comes out at the thing's face, and then the glass has that nice little, like, tendril going up through it.
Oh, the Mephit is not only satisfied with this, but even more eager to try and get its hands on this drink.
She leaves the smoldering bark if it wants it. She's getting a vibe from this guy.
Yeah, doesn't seem to care. As Hamish kind of looks over, breathes very slowly, and then snaps his fingers. The bonds release, and like it's carnage for like a few seconds as the Mephit scarfs down the burning wood and then begins to like throw back the liqueur.
Fascinating technique, my friend. That will certainly add a nice coating of that afterburn to the drink.
It's not paying attention.
Oh, she still says it. Internally going, I'm really glad I used the thicker glasses with this one.
Yeah, you kind of got that vibe. Hamish at that point is still speaking with the incubi, and they're sort of the sort of genteel nature that's inherent to most devils is relaxed somewhat in these two that stand before you. They seem to be on break, as it were. Go ahead and make an insight check.
It's a 17.
17. Okay. They're getting a beat on them. You get the sense that they're trying to revel in the calm before the storm. You don't necessarily know why, but most emphatically, they seem to be not drinking to forget, but drinking to prepare, almost.
Mm-hmm. So there's sort of an itchiness to them, like they're
Yes, an undefined sort of itchiness, which kind of pervades the mood for a time.
Did you say that Hamish was interacting with them?
Yes, currently just speaking with them and kind of getting their mind off things. He's perfectly in his element.
Mm-hmm. Jovie will pat the bar where the Mephit is thoroughly consuming that delicately made drink she made, and will slide over to where Hamish is, sort of leaning playfully over the bar, asking the two patrons, is there anything else I can get for you two?
The two incubi who you sit across from, they're kind of a warm, kind of reddish hue in skin coloration, but their builds are a little bit different. One is a little bit more androgynous and very much very clean cut, clean shaven. Um, Obviously tends to himself very, very particularly, whereas the other seems to represent a more primal part, a sort of thick black beard kind of grasps at him, and pardon, his hair is braided very elaborately down the entirety of his back. Looking to you, though, they kind of soften and smirk. The slightly more gruff one kind of replies, "Would that we could, ma'am, but we only stopped for one drink this evening."
Oh, that is an absolute shame.
Make a persuasion check.
15.
The slightly more clean one sort of leans on the bar and looks to his friend. I've never been a fan of arithmetic, but if I'm not mistaken, one, and he points to Hamish, and then to you, and one, he looks to his friend. That still makes one, doesn't it? The gruff one kind of blinks a few times. Maybe for you, friend. Not for me.
Jovie immediately eye contact with the one who was making justifications and smirks at them and says, I absolutely condone wherever you got your schooling from, dear.
Didn't get one. Not proper, at least.
Well, then I am a fan of your imagination. What can I get you?
Anything, so long as it's strong and, well, he kind of sours it.
That I can do. She pats Hamish on the back, sort of like everything's fine, and she will go find something that basically could degrease an engine.
Wonderful, wonderful. As you vend to these patrons, we must adjourn to Mercy and Bahazet. A labyrinthine cacophony of interiors has led you to the armory proper. From the sort of dull ebon halls of this place to very strange and elaborate kind of what you divine to be or consider to be crew quarters or passageways for servants, guards, and the like, suddenly leads you into a very plainly kept room, not devoid of personage or personal touch, given that across from the entrance that you currently are walking through, there exists a large table upon which are scattered a few blueprints and the like, and a column of chests on either side which contain, well, make another perception check.
That's a 15.
Which contain the tools of the forge. Hammers, tongs, anvils, spare anvils, adorn the sort of side of these this desk. To the left is an active forge works with glowing, blistering hot coals, providing heat to a central source. And to the right, you actually see a, you'd call it a cot, but that would almost be generous. So well loved is this bed. It's almost falling apart, and indeed, as you look over, excuse me, the only person who is in it at the moment seems to be the keeper of armament, as Bahazet, in a familiar tone, says, "Bailey, arm this one. She'll be of use to us tonight." Now, this is the point where I should probably explain what Bailey looks like, huh? I mean, if I wanted to.
You could. You certainly could. This is really good. This is really good time management while you look up what Bailey looks like.
What? I don't know what you mean.
Pay no attention to the campaign prep behind the curtain.
What? No.
Okay, so we're gonna. So Rachel and I are just gonna improv what Bailey looks like.
Nope. I got it right here.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the Keeper of Armament, Bailey Gallo Dodger, a boisterous and strong woman. Her form is almost comparable to Bahazet. However, it seems to have a little bit more of a soft nature about it, by virtue of the work that she has done over the years. It's sort of the difference between a shot put thrower and like a bodybuilder, between the two, with Bailey very much sort of taking up space, a very large and very imposing presence, though tempered by a little bit of a homely sensibility. Her hair is tied in sort of a messy bun, the braids and sort of thick nature of it lending itself to the chaos. Her tusks jut out from under her lip, not in a ridiculous manner, but to a noticeable degree. And her skin seems to be of a sort of bluish black, akin to sort of obsidian or that kind of tone. And she takes one look at you, blinks a few times, and almost sort of laughs to herself. And I'm assuming that you're not one for the bastard sword, nor the claymore.
Not so much, no.
Something more esoteric, yeah.
Esoteric seems a strange descriptor to use for a weapon that's used to physically crush people.
There are many ways to crush a person. Believe me, I know. She sort of chuckles to herself. Bahazet pats you on the back. You're in exquisite. I leave you to it, Bailey. Be gentle with this one, huh? Bahazet departs from the room. Shall we say, the needs of his station calling him elsewhere. Bailey kind of grits her teeth and...
So, Bailey, huh? So that's the name of a particular spirit where I'm from. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Where are you from, actually?
I mean, I've been kind of all over, I guess, but most recently, before falling through the ceiling onto a poker table and nearly getting stabbed by Durgar, it was Waterdeep, which apparently was nowhere near where you were at the time, so really I have no idea how I got here. But apparently now I'm forced into involuntary servitude, so now you have to give me tools to hit people with, apparently. I mean, I don't know how the rules work around here, and frankly, it seems a little of a strange protocol, but who am I to argue?
A twinkle in her eye sort of appears as you sort of relay your story. I was wondering when he let you out of that damn cell. It's so uncordial about that. I must apologize for his tableside manners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, something makes me feel like he might be big and strong, but maybe he's got hidden insecurities there, so he needs to take it out on his subordinates. I mean, it makes perfect sense when you think about it. Also, does this mean I get an actual room now rather than a jail cell?
Well, that will have to be a conversation with Nominee, most likely. You have met Nominee, yes? Make an intelligence check.
She tries to think. And that's a 12.
You have... This is the first time you're hearing this.
Doesn't ring a bell. Well, I haven't been given a huge number of names yet, aside from yourself, Bahazet, and Whistler, so...
I'll see if I can get something arranged for you. As a keeper myself, I'm obliged to ensure that the quartermaster is kept in the loop.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you.
But come now. We must get you outfitted properly. You see her lips sort of part, and her round face sort of becomes a little bit brighter as the prospect of arming someone actually kind of brings her a little tinge of joy.
Okay, well, I guess. Show me what you got.
Leading you aside, she actually takes you to the side with the forge. And quite succinctly, or quite swiftly, you're presented with an array of weaponry at your disposal. Among which, give me an investigation check.
Oh, 17.
Is your weapon of choice. Please describe to the audience what exactly you pick up from the... Well, thanks, AT&T. What you pick up from the array of weapons aboard.
So she ponders for a while, picks up a few different things, tries out the balance of a few different items. But eventually she settles on an object which at first just kind of looks like a coiled length of kind of steel chain. And she picks it up, and attached to one end of the chain is a very, well, not huge, about the size of a small... About the size of like a honeydew melon. There's a round steel ball with kind of rivets around the side. And she kind of balances it and like spins it in almost like a helicopter motion in one hand. And attached to the other end of this length of chain is kind of a very small, almost pendulum-shaped straight knife. And she kind of plays with it a little bit, does some almost like baton twirler kind of motions, and then looks to Bailey. Yeah, I think it's this one. I used to train with a few things like this back where I came from before. This seems to be pretty good weight for me, I think.
You see her, as you sort of test out this weapon, you see her face sort of lighten up, and I'd like you to make an insight check.
Insight, you say? That's still only a 13.
Break that ceiling.
Yeah. You'll get there eventually. Just keep trying. You see this sort of twinkle in her eye appear as the fires of the forge glint off during your elaborate display. And indeed, you get the sense that there's a little recognition or like some sort of nostalgia as you make this display. She kind of stills herself and pats at her chest, fans herself, a few beads of sweat, and just sort of rolling down her temple as the forge sort of grows in its bellowing heat. I'm so glad that you enjoy it. For a moment, I swear. She sort of stills herself.
Wait,
Pardon?
you swear what?
Oh, it's nothing important. She sort of leans forward, and getting a good look at you, you finally see the sort of flecks of gold that dot her very dark eyes. It's just that you remind me of someone.
And that someone would be?
Lost my present memory, unfortunately. A damn shame.
Well, maybe I throw this thing about a little bit more in nights to come and you'll remember.
Oh, don't be too hasty now. Eamon is the jealous type. She sort of laughs to herself.
I
Make an
will
intelligence
remember
check.
9.
You don't know who Eamon is.
We know nothing.
You know nothing, Mercy. That doesn't work. Doesn't work when it's.
Good try.
Maybe it should have been in a French accent. 50 concurrent viewers. Go. But at the present moment, you have found a suitable weapon from the forge. And you then remembered you have no directions to the gambling hall that you're supposed to be guarding.
So she probably spaces out a little bit, just kind of vaguely looking at Bailey's muscles. Oh, shit, yeah. I'm meant to report to the gambling hall. Could you give me some directions as to where that is? Because I still have no idea where I'm going on this ship. I've been in a cell for like a year, probably.
Of course. Oh, and if you're going to the gambling hall at the present moment, I can see why Bahazet might have been desperate enough to get you on board. I'll tell you what. I can give you the directions, and I can even put you in touch with the man that you're most likely going to be talking to. Lovely lieutenant by the name of Exceptional.
That sounds like an insufferable person, just by the name.
Oh, only slightly.
Alright, well, I'll take your word for it. One thing I want to make clear, if I'm now working on some kind of security under Bahazet in the gambling hall, at what point do I have permission to hit people on the head with this? I don't want to, it's not like a supervisor's going to come up and say, that guy, you can knock them out now. I mean, what happens if I think a guest's getting rowdy or something's getting weird and I take some kind of performative action and it turns out it was just, I don't know, some kind of mating ritual. I don't know what kind of guests you get here.
She holds up her hand.
She hasn't even met Jovie yet.
Yeah, not yet. She holds up her hand and sort of stills you for a second. I'm going to put this as nicely as possible. Quiet. Your mind and your mouth. Whatever brought you here, whatever put you here, you're here for a reason. Trust that reason. Right?
Okay, better be a fucking good reason.
I'm sure it will be. And if it's not, well, there are worse places to be stuck. She sort of motions to the door outside of the forge, offering to escort you for a little.
Well, thank you for your pearls of wisdom, and for the escort. It's very kind of you.
Walking alongside her, she keeps somewhat quiet, giving the odd history lesson as you walk along. And finally make your way into the gambling hall, adjacent to the room that Jovie is in. Jovie. Make a perception check real quick.
Oh, yeah, because those worked out before.
Got this.
Yep, just about as well as I'd hoped. That's an 8.
Your current drinking partner, a incubus by the name of Xerxes, as you have been able to sort of suss out of him with his now third drink, seems to be absolutely enthralled not only with the conversation, but seems to have distracted you from the fact that a good number of patrons have made their way to your current establishment. Hamish is, well, you don't see him at the minute, but you're sure that he's perfectly fine and that your intense service with this particular patron is well appreciated.
It is about quality, not quantity.
Exactly. You hear the sort of rowdiness of the 3 dwarven brethren who have set up shop next to you as they drink with their patrons and unfortunately make a whole lot of noise, which ruins the vibe technically, but you can't pay attention to that. You have Xerxes in front of you, and indeed he seems to be seems to be smiling and excuse me, and ignoring the stroke of a lute as it goes off in the background.
Oh yeah, it happens.
As you speak with him, you don't notice, unfortunately, the trouble that's brewing right on the peripheries.
Of course not.
Oh no.
At your bar, currently, I'd like you to go ahead and make a Arcana check. Just real quick.
13.
At your bar currently sits a somewhat strange sight. You've heard Yex described before. That's Y-E-K. But seeing one in person, it's a little bit of a different experience. You see a flattened lupine face with gaunt white skin pulled over its skeletal frame. And though they are dried and the flies are lost in the crowd, you see the trail of entrails and bones that cover its thick black spikes which jut from its back and spine. Dark, almost maroon-esque fur adorns this creature as it saddles up and climbs into one of the stools, about the same size as the Mephit that came before, but definitely more sinister, and definitely not willing to engage in conversation. A pity, then, that a rather boisterous and loud, devilish individual is right across drinking with the dwarves. Go ahead and make an insight check. At disadvantage because you're in such deep conversation with Xerxes.
Oh, well, I'm glad that was the lower one. It's 11.
Mercy, at the same point, I would like you to make a insight check as well.
You got it. Oh, natural 20.
Hey!
So that was what for Jovie?
That was an 11 total for Jovie.
Something's not right. Something's definitely wrong. And Mercy, you've been in plenty of bars, visited lots of places, seen lots of things, and you definitely know when there's about to be a fight. And it's not going to be pretty.
Bailey!
Though it is going to be pretty.
Bailey!
Go ahead.
Bailey!
She looks at you, blinks a few times.
Do I get in on that one?
She takes. Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. Let me go find Exceptional for you. I'll only be a moment, yeah?
Okay. And once I guess she's gone, I'm going to be like a casual visitor of the bar and just mingle with the rest of the crowd, but try and sidle close to the suspicious party and not look like someone who's been in a jail cell for a long time.
And we'll see how you do after this very short and very, very wonderful break. Stick with us after, and you'll see how this shakes up.
Lately, everything's trembling. All my shelters are opening. Feels like everything's crumbling. All the windows are shattering. Hold your horses, it's too cold to read. Face expressions that mean nothing. Dip your sadness in this bowl till you feel minor changes in your body. Taking, everyone's grabbing, all the women are howling. Running, everyone's rushing, all the saviors are frowning. Hold your horses, it's too cold to read. Face expressions that mean nothing. Dip your sadness in this bowl till you feel minor changes in your body. And as you cage the lines in your head makes its way across your bed, and now your mouth can say all the things that made your stomach turn today. Hold your horses, it's too cold to read. Face expressions that mean nothing. Dip your sadness in this bowl till you feel minor changes in your body.
step that I take, I don't feel good and my body starts to shake. I fell in love with a girl, I haven't seen her met so far. Sometimes I wonder if I'm the only one who sees what they say it takes to be a man and what a man can be. It's all a lie, it's all a fraud. They only feed you with what they're being fed. Sometimes I still feel it's all so dull. So why don't you take it all? Take it away from me. 'Cause someday I'll leave this place, even if cities don't run away. Don't run away. Well, it makes me lose my mind, but I don't get it why. Everybody's moving so fast and I'm not even blinking with an eye. But I don't want your badge, I don't need no gun. I'd rather bleed truth than feel misunderstood. Sometimes I still feel it's all so dull. So why don't you take it all? Take it away from me. Someday I'll leave this place, even if cities don't run away. Don't run away. So why don't you take it all? Take it away from me. Someday I'll leave this place, even if cities don't run away. Don't run away. Don't run away.
Bring me to the valley of peace. Spare my heart and I'll reach to the end of the road. Release me from the chains of my mind. Pain I cannot define pierces me all the way down. 'Cause all I ever want is you. Even sometimes I realize that nothing feels right. Only you, you give me heaven. Only you got my attention. Oh, the pressure in my life and all the stress I can't deny. It fills me up each time. Only you, you give me heaven. Only you got my attention.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for bearing with us as we dive into the second part of our lovely session today. Um, when last we left off, we'll get to that in a second. But if you're still joining us and you haven't already entered in our lovely giveaway for the Grandmaster Tier World Anvil account that we have, go ahead and just type in an exclamation point Tiefling Tuesday in chat in order to be entered in. If you're a non-Nerdsmith creator, you'll be entered into a little bit of a raffle that we got going on for that lovely little thing. Plugs were at the beginning, but just wanted to make sure y'all were aware, because we're going to be ending that with stream and announcing whoever the lucky individual is at the end. Also, if you're on YouTube, hi, catch us live if you can. 2 p.m. on 2 p.m. CST on alternating Tuesdays. It's confusing.
You can check us out on nerdsmith.org, and we have countdowns for our upcoming episodes, so you can see when our new episodes come out.
So why don't you go to
Nerdsmith? Schedule.
Yeah, keep track. We keep track, so you don't have to. Nerdsmith.org. And also, if you're so inclined, nerdsmith.org/subdrive. I'm not sure why I'm saying that URL, but, why don't you follow it?
It's important to go. It has information about the subdrive, what you can get if you subscribe, some testimonials from some of our creators about what subscribers mean to them, how you can help impact the lives of the people that you enjoy content from.
Yes,
I think it's worth stopping by.
Yes, that's right. That's why I'm saying it, because it's our whole thing. but
so
no.
you knew to say it, you just didn't remember why.
Yeah, exactly. But before we get too far off the beaten path, Mercy.
That's me.
Expertly, with a natural 20, you're able to divine that 2 individuals. Go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Arcana. No, that's a 5.
That 2 individuals of indeterminate infernal origin and the like actually do have a little bit of unspoken beef that's going on, and the
Picking
tension
up negative vibes.
Yeah, and the tension is definitely ratcheting up as you note the sort of boisterous gentleman kind of beginning to sort of rant about himself in Infernal. Do you understand Infernal?
I do. Classic tiefling.
Saving grace.
Yes. It's a boisterous sort of war story that he's telling, how he was on the first level alongside Ball, which, again, you have no idea who these people are, but alongside the Lord of the First, just absolutely thrashing through this pack of Yek with wild abandon, and he was actually rewarded with a little bit of respite due to a most grievous injury that was received during his time there. And opposite him, in a bar situated close by, is this, again, flat-faced sort of lupine individual, ? Who's kind of silently sitting there, seething almost. Like, you can see the anime bad vibe lines just drifting off.
I can pick up on those.
Yeah.
Mercy does canonically have anime vision, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, it's one of those things.
No, it tracks. It's one of your character features.
Indeed. So... oh, boy. As the 2 individuals sort of are stirring the pot, however unintentionally, Mercy, is there anything you would like to do?
I'm going to, I guess, prop up the bar, but try and be in between these 2 parties. Just very casual.
Immediately, well, that depends on the bar that you sit at. Do you sit at the one where one is being attended by a sort of older gentleman, though divinely manicured and well kept, and a golden six-fingered tiefling? Or would you like to be at the bar with the three rough and tumble dwarvish barkeeps sharing war stories with this other individual?
Wherever would put me as most equally between the two of them, I suppose. The two parties offending one another.
That would be Hamish's bar. So you'd probably saddle up, and you'd be a couple of seats down from this sort of seething individual.
Just kind of keep an eye on him. Just look,
Jovie.
if Hamish is there, then I'd probably just go, "Hey, I work here. I'm kind of a big deal. It's all good."
Make a deception.
Why do I keep rolling these?
Who are you talking
6!
Hamish. and
hello.
Hamish looks to you and kind of like leans forward. Excuse me, what did you say? He seems a little bit frazzled as he's currently serving like 4 methods of ice, fire, and earth, respected. Ice, fire, earth, and I think wind was the other one. Yeah.
I just said I work here. Everything's cool.
He blinks a few times, and he would respond. He actually opens his mouth to respond before you hear a gaggle of the methods kind of like jumping up in their seats, trying to like hail him down, like for their drinks. Very quickly, he sort of twists one of the cups in his hands, and it turns almost like crystalline ice shards form within the cup before he hands it off to that respective method. He engages with you no further. Jovie, you do recognize the new patron at the bar. Well, recognize is a very strong term. You saw her get dragged out by Whistler out of the corner of your eye.
Left an impression.
Once. It certainly always does. Xerxes kind of looks to her as well, and you see him kind of like tilt his head. Well, all right then. Baja must be getting really desperate. Worried about something? He sort of muses to himself in a obviously drunken state.
Oh, she's just a newcomer onto the ship, that's all. She's probably exploring. I haven't seen her in a while.
Mm-hmm. He sort of sing-song nods in reply. As the time progresses, very, very slowly, the tension, Mercy, is palpable. You can sense it just ratcheting up. The Yek that you're seated close by to seems to be licking its lips and exposed teeth kind of angrily or hungrily. It's hard to get a... You know what? Make an insight check.
Alright. 10.
It doesn't look happy. Definitely doesn't look happy. And given your natural 20 earlier, I'll say that you think it's about to do something very, very, very stupid.
Well, I need grounds before I can act being new here, and I don't even have a supervisor, so... And what do I care if some of these devils get hurt before I step in?
A sunken eye, which is almost like a bead of light encased around sort of a flesh-covered skull, looks very pointedly at you. A very vacant light kind of shining in your direction. Make a deception.
I awkwardly look aside.
Deception.
14.
You hear it sort of rattle and its teeth sort of shake a little bit before snapping back into place. and
Do
turning
you
its
drink?
attention.
Sound like you've got a dry throat.
Again, it shifts from the warmonger across to you.
No? Okay then. Well, you're missing out. They're very good.
It would blink, but it doesn't have eyelids, so or at least eyelids that it could conceivably blink. So it instead just sort of again stares at you very vacantly.
I try not to stare it in the eyes too much.
It would win that staring contest.
It is winning that staring contest at the minute. However, Mercy, there was a reason why you noted that the tension was about ready to be cut. As indeed you see hoisted aloft on the on the sort of pauldrons of this warmonger, a skull of, well, make a nature check. And indeed, Jovie, as this is loudly proclaimed, go ahead and
8.
I'm
I'm saving it all up for when I have to fight things.
no kidding. Go ahead and roll nature as well.
Ooh, that's a 19. I'm good at plants.
Yeah, and animal skulls. Particularly demonic animal skulls. Particularly yeks. Indeed, as the sort of pauldron is held aloft and a loud cheer goes out, and the warmonger boasts that he slaughtered a pack of them by his own, you see the sort of jittering skull of the one that is seated at the bar begin to sort of growl and snap the air viciously.
I'm still going to watch for now. I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. I'm not chaotic good for nothing.
Absolutely.
Jovie tenses a little bit. She has seen enough she's seen enough simmering conflict on the boat to know to sort of stay out of the way if things get a little too rambunctious. This is not her purview. Though she does immediately glance at Hamish. She is looking to him for a cue.
Absolutely nothing. He's so hopelessly, trying to quell the methods that are in front of him, and indeed the other patrons that are kind of moseying in and out in passing interest.
Oh, so pretty yet so useless. She will she's not gonna do anything yet. But not for lack of wanting to do something. She's just like,
No.
I'm out of my depth.
It's potential. As the warmonger sort of is treated to another drink, the yak kind of bites at itself and kind of growls something in Infernal. Mercy, you understand it perfectly. Pack killer. Pack killer. Kill pack. Kill pack killer. Just this very circular kind of conversation and logic kind of grips this individual.
I carry on watching. This guy seems to be a bit angry and difficult to talk to, and the other guy seems to be a bit of a dick, so I'm quite happy to wait until they actually kick off.
Jovie, last chance. You see the guy clawing at himself.
No, Jovie will go up to the yak and put on her best smile and keep her distance from him, like keep a few feet away. But
you see Xerxes kind of like put up a hand, but he's actually so far gone. Like it's just not even funny. Like
she'll scoot back to him, pet Xerxes on the face, and be right back, darling. I have business to attend.
don't be too long.
Never. And she will go up to the yak and, with a glowing grin and demeanor, suggest to him, friend, is there something I can do to soothe your troubles? This is a place of peace.
You see him, or you see it bite upon its paw and look to you. The Mercy, you note that the eyes that were once sort of like this brilliant white have turned a dark, deep red. And Jovie, I need you to make a persuasion.
Natural 20. Of all the times to do well, this was the
It's a
time.
pretty good time.
Peace. Peace. It's spitting out all of this infernal.
She'll respond in
it's-
kind. If not peace, this is a place of neutrality. You would do well to remember that, friend.
Kill pack. Kill pack killer. Die. Live again. Die. Live again. You hear again this sort of growling.
As the yak seems to be debating its valuing of its own life,
Yep.
Jovie will reach into her pack and pull out her mixology tools and quickly pour something that she has prepared, and she'll pour a what's it called, a Velvet Duchess, this warm cognac drink that she has prepared, and offer it to the yak. This would soothe your nerves, friend.
It seems insulted. Make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Would it take away the disadvantage if Jovie were to take one of the drinks as well? Like, drink it first and then offer?
It would have if you had stated it beforehand.
Oh, okay. Very fair.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's not great. Oh, that's only slightly better, so that's fine. That's a 14. I mean, I'm telling a warmonger not to monger war, so I imagine it's not going to be great.
Hey, you, stop mongering.
Yeah. You see the yak sniff the drink, but as another boisterous roar kind of emerges from the other bar, for a moment you see the red sort of flicker back to white before bolting back to dark red. And at this point, given your intervention, you don't have to worry about this. Would have been surprise round. Roll for initiative, please.
Yes. Oh shit, I lost one dice, that's gone forever. 20! Not natural, dirty 20.
I heard synthetic 20 from Plot Hunters. I love that. It makes it sound like a cyborg. And
Man-made 20.
I got a 15 total.
All right. Mercy, that was a 20. Jovie, that was a 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Mercy, being the first on the draw, you are the first to act as the yak spills over the stool and tries to make for the warmonger just straight up. What do you do?
Oh boy. She's gonna I'm a professional, trust me, everything's gonna be just fine.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. She takes the meteor hammer and is gonna try and she basically like swings it once in the loop around her head and is gonna try and catch the egg, like no holds barred.
All right.
There is a 23 to hit.
23 to hit.
Monks, man.
On this, on the Ek?
On the yak.
On the Ek. That hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Gotcha. Minimum damage though, that's a 6 damage points. But because I've never done this before, she would like to attempt to use Stunning Strike.
Go ahead.
So basically you have to make a con saving throw.
All right, that'll be fun. What's the DC?
DC 13. It's not that great.
And unfortunately, the Ek makes it
No.
as the Moonhammer strikes this bestial form. It shrugs off the brunt of the force and is able to avoid being stunned.
In that case, I will follow up with my bonus action unarmed strike as she kind of dashes after it and tries to lay in with a kick.
So stunning strike doesn't do any damage?
No, Stunning Strike is just basically, well, it stuns it if it hits. It's a key point to use whenever you hit with an attack. And it's not a bonus action, it's just like a key point thing. So she's then going to use bonus action to unarmed strike.
Okay. Did you roll for damage for the maul then?
I did, that was a 6.
Oh, a 6,
Yeah.
right. Blue.
And then, so
Blue's number.
this one was 25. So this is a good old-fashioned kick, and that's much better. This time it's 10 damage.
10? Your kick is better than your hammer.
Chun-Li's this thing.
Yeah, actually, it is sort of a Chun-Li move as the hammer comes down, sort of ready to stun whatever is in its path. It unfortunately sort of buries itself into the ground next to it, and with that momentum, you sort of do a helicopter kick into its face. It retches back ridiculously and looks to you, eyes just blood red.
I'm sorry, it's all part of the job.
Doesn't seem to care about that as it lunges forward to try and bite you.
I don't want.
But you will have. Okay, so that's that is 18.
Oh man, that just hits.
Alrighty. Well, let's see. As the ridiculous form of this creature latches onto you, it doesn't seem to let go. With 10 points of damage due to the bite, it is now attached to you. Oh wait, no, you're not large, are you? Right, you're medium.
No, I'm medium.
It's in your space. It's not directly attached to you, but whoo boy, those jaws really, really hurt. But maybe not as bad as the claws. Actually, just as bad as the claws, as in a wild swipe, it hits your abdomen, doing about 7 points of damage.
Ow.
Not.
Well, I'm on half health already, guys. This is great.
Whew.
Good.
Humor.
Glass cannon here.
I see that.
Jovie, at the current moment, you've got this ridiculous sort of wolf creature that's attacking this semi-stranger. What do you do?
Well, Jovie's gonna, prioritize the fact that a new crewmate just got the crap hit out of her. And as she's got her mixology tools out, her shaker with the runes all over it, she's going to quickly pull what she needs, the pre-prepped cocktail, and shaker it, and we haven't worked out the mechanics of how this works, but I can use an action to feed a drink to Mercy, or serve a drink to Mercy. So basically, as if it were a spell effect. So basically, let's just say Jovie slides the shaker, or pours the shaker, pushes the glass over at Mercy, and goes, "Baby doll, you're gonna want to drink that right now." And
Yeah.
it's during my turn, so I don't know if just hand wave it that she drinks it during that turn.
Hand wavy stuff.
Yeah.
And what exactly does this drink?
So she poured a bourbon drink that has these crystals of rock candy in it. Specifically, it's called a Big Rock Candy Mountain, and it gives Mercy +1 to her AC and a +1d6 to all her attack rolls for a minute.
Wow,
So
nice.
go.
All right. So as Mercy, acquainted with the bar, most definitely, you grab the drink and pour it down your throat really quickly.
Smash the glass.
Yeah.
No, it's not those. Oh, okay.
Much to the dismay of Jovie.
I have to pay for those.
You toss the drink back and feel this boon sort of surge through your body. As you note the warmonger on the other side kind of like actually shouting an infernal, like, "What the hell's going on?" Between you and them, there seems to be a crowd that's sort of milling about that's actually paying attention to the spectacle that you are now generating. At the top of the round, we go to you, Mercy.
It's just business. And she is going to. She doesn't really got the range to use the hammers, so for her action, she's just gonna lay in with a really good, like, right hook to this thing's jaw to try and punch it off of her.
Ow! Yeah, no, as it's whipping and snarling its teeth.
And that's plus a d6, I believe.
Yes.
One plus 1d6.
So that is, Jesus Christ, just as well. That's a 14 to hit.
14. All right. Do you want the bad news or the good? The bad news is there. The bad news is I lied. There's no good news. Its armor class, unfortunately,
That's depressing.
exceeds. Yeah. So as you try to rocket your fist into the side of this, it's sort of, unfortunately, in kind of a drunken master Jackie Chan style, you hit the hard part of its skull, so it sort of disorients it, but it hurts. So no damage was really done or received.
In that case, she uses a key point, and she's gonna use Flurry of Blows to do 2 more.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Okay, this is a bit better. This is 18.
Yes, that hits.
Okay, right. Okay, so that's 10 damage again.
10 damage again. Okay, so
5 on the d6 plus 5.
So that's the first blow. So go ahead and roll
And
again.
then the second one. Okay, this is a 28.
Yeah, no, that one doesn't. Unfortunately, weird how that works. No, go ahead, roll for
It's
damage.
a bell curve.
Okay, this time it's a 9 damage.
9 damage.
And-
Okay, so that's 19 total.
19 total. And assuming this thing is still up, she is then going to, because of her subclass being a drunken master monk, she has drunken technique. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, you gain the benefit of the disengage action, and your walking speed increases by 10 feet until the end of the current turn. So basically, she's going to disengage and pull her arm out of this thing's mouth, and just kind of like,
Okay.
almost like drunkenly kind of do this weird eel-like flop out of its face, and like really dexterous,
You
but
go
kind
limp.
of really weird looking ragdoll at the same time. And then she totally does a backflip to land on the bar and just takes the whole kind of pose waiting its next move.
This is sort of taken as a show or part of the show, as indeed you eel out of the way. A couple of patrons seem to be Duragar, funnily enough, kind of step back and like cheer you on as you kick this thing's ass. As you eel away, I'd like you to go ahead and tell me if these next 2 attacks hit.
Can you answer that question, Jason?
I mean, 11?
No!
Okay, yeah. I think.
She does a Rock Lee, kind of drunkenly just flails out of the way, just...
Hey, guess what? It's the same number. So, snarling and grabbing at you as like violently as possible, the maw of this creature just snaps at your feet, trying to find purchase once again. And yeah, just nothing. Jovie, what would you like to do?
Jovie's grinning like an idiot at Mercy, just like, baby doll, you are gonna be such trouble. And she reaches into her bag and pulls out a small bottle, like a very tiny potion bottle. You'd almost call it like about a shot's worth of liquor. And it has a little skull etched on the bottle, and she looks at the creature and just goes, darling, last call, and she will chuck a wraith pepper shot at him. She has to be within 5 feet of him, so she might have to take a step forward. I just want to let you know I'm like within 5 feet of him to do this.
I imagine you hopping over the bar at that point, like shot in hand, just ready to throw it at
just like a Molotov.
Instead of feeding it, I'm envisioning when I need to feed an unwilling creature, I just shove it in its face and break the glass.
Go ahead and make a dexterity check, just a general dexterity check. Or acrobatics, if you have it.
Ooh, yes, please. That's a 22.
Okay. Luckily, the methods that were nearby do mosey out of the way, much to Hamish's dismay, as a litany of glasses is sort of knocked over. He looks to you very concerned and confused, but as you throw the Wraith Pepper Shot...
Okay. So Wraith Pepper Shot, I need a con save of 15.
13.
Oh, it will take 2d8 fire damage, and it will have, and it has disadvantage on attack rolls until its next turn.
I set this thing on fire.
So 10 fire damage.
10 fire damage
it
total.
Sizzles. Yeah, 10 total.
Yeah, as you catch this thing alight, it sort of burns the matted fur, slowing the burn. It doesn't do as much damage as you thought it might, but it does deal sort of that disorienting effect of being smashed in the face with a shot glass. So
Yeah. I mean, a potion bottle, but sure, it's essentially a shot glass.
And that was...
It's mincing.
And what was the second part of that? It was...
disadvantage on attack rolls until its next turn. Or rather, let me clarify, until the end of its next turn. So on its next turn, it will have disadvantage on attack rolls.
Gotcha. Mercy, you're...
So she's still holding the pose and goes, now we're cooking. And then she will, now she has a bit more range, she'll whip the hammer back up, spin it around, and like have a proper smackdown.
Oh shit, hammer.
And I don't get the +6 to my attack rolls anymore because it was just my previous turn.
It said a minute. The effect of the drink lasts a minute.
Oh, so it's a bit like a cleric spell then.
Yeah, it's a buff.
Okay, cool.
For you.
Yeah. So you got 10 rounds. Guess
Just
what?
as well, because I'm rolling like pants. That is a total of 19.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the hammer, she is gonna do 10 damage.
You keep rolling that.
The
good
D6
10.
is rolling really well. The D20, on the other hand.
On the other hand, swings and roundabouts. Yeah. So as, again, the hammer cracks upon the head of this creature, you actually see a portion of the skull lift through the skin and, like, fall to the floor. You see a very thick, like, trickle of black blood ooze from the entity. Its teeth kind of chittering and chattering once more.
And then she's gonna spend another key point for a flurry of blows because I'm gonna make you hate monks by the end of this campaign so much.
It'll be fine.
And she's going to essentially leap and lay in with another couple of roundhouse kicks. And doesn't seem to mind that much about the fire because she has a resistance to it.
Of course.
So that is a 22 and a 17.
Both.
Okie dokie. That is 7 plus another 10 damage. So 17 plus the other 10, 27 damage total this turn. And I just want to say, and she says this out loud, I am punching him non-lethally.
Out loud.
Out loud.
Yes.
I am subduing this passenger non-lethally.
You actually hear, like, as you announce this to the world, you actually hear, like, a couple of sighs, like, "Aw," like, from the crowd that's cheering you on. The warmonger in particular sort of like, what? Like, angry all of a sudden that this person who's, like, disrupting his fine evening isn't going to be killed. And that's a good thing that you yelled that to the crowd and announced it to the GM, because you done did it. He's at 0. So
Punch the singed thing to unconsciousness.
yeah. So as you sort of, well, okay. How does this guy go down? How does this go down?
It ends up looking like an Avengers punch, you know, the landing pose with the fist down and the head tucked.
Oh, 3-point landing?
Yeah. And then
Alright.
just kind of like...
So
Just
as
slow-mo.
yeah, absolutely, teeth sort of fly out in every direction.
Aw.
The wound itself sort of gapes open even farther, and you see the light in it briefly flicker out before finally going to a dull sort of gray color. It falls to the floor and is still breathing, thankfully. But as the crowd is kind of like mixture of like, hey, good job, and well, we really wanted to see him die. You see a cerulean-skinned tiefling actually make his way to the front, like ridiculously, pushing through the crowd and blinking a few times. The sort of gnarled horns that adorn his head, sort of in a ram's style. Oh, wait, no. Did I say ram style? Oh, sorry.
Rewind.
So many tiefling NPCs!
We need... I gotta hook you up, Jason. I found a good way of visually tracking your NPCs I'm gonna hook you up with.
I somehow got ram and narwhal confused, and I don't know how. So,
oh man, a
and
whale with ram's horns would look awesome. Sorry.
food for thought for the next session. So the cerulean tiefling with these sea green eyes, cloven hooves, no tail, and horns that twist like a narwhal's, kind of blinks a few times. Kind of looks like the dude from the Ginyu Force. What's his name? Is that Ginyu? Ginyu's the one with horns. Anyway, he looks to you baffled with what's exactly transpired. Bailey is in tow, and Bahazet as well. They look over the crowd and directly at you, Mercy.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Whistler kind of pushes his way through the crowd and claps like some manacles on this individual. He's accompanied by this very severe-looking, like armor-clad cleric who's tending to the head wound. But as this sort of stunned silence pervades across the group, Bahazet is the sort of first to speak. As he takes a long drag from a newly lit spliff. Okay. Nowhere will have to hear about this. He looks over to Jovie.
I'll clean it up. And she grabs a rag off the bar and starts sweeping the glass from all the broken stuff.
Oh yeah, and it would probably help if he wasn't such an asshole. Just saying, and I point at the warmongering veteran.
The crowd disperses as the warmonger, kind of confusedly being blamed for this, like, lodges an official complaint. But as the crowd disperses and the night rolls on, you find yourselves suddenly looking upon this night with fondness. It was a awkward first meeting for sure. But hey, worse things have happened to better people, I'm sure. The night rolls on, and so does the final rites. And so do we, as we must adjourn until next session. All right. So
We lived. We didn't die retroactively.
Heck yeah!
Yeah,
I'm
heck
going
yeah.
back to the infirmary to go piss off Bailey some more because I ache.
Oh boy, thank you so much, everybody who was watching. We thank you so much for being a part of this lovely, lovely little session that we had to do, as one of our number had fallen, unfortunately, due to, well, devices beyond her means. But we send our love to Heavenly. Nowhere shall return next session. And yeah, that's pretty much it on my end.
Yeah, we have our giveaway. We have our World Anvil 12 months of Grand Master subscription, and our producer and the chat will run the winner of our giveaway. Thank you guys so much for participating and for sticking around while we ran our little like flashback combat sesh. That was fun.
Yeah.
And by all means, Jason, please let me know if you need to revisit the homebrew to make sure I'm balanced.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. That was a great.
Likewise, you are always welcome to check out my character sheet on D&D Beyond. I promise you it's all legit.
Yes.
Mine will
and-
be on Google Drive that you can find it, and I'll link to the original homebrew you can take a look at. But yeah, so we're ready to run our giveaway. If you would be so
Heck yeah.
kind, dear friend Logan.
Right. Well, as that is being run, I will go ahead and say, so grateful to have everybody here. My name is Jason Catrone, at Just Jason Please on Twitter. Check the pin tweet if you want to see where I'm going to be in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, go ahead and give yourselves some plugs as well.
Well, really quick, we have our winner. I'll congratulate our winner. Trelter Skelter, you have won the giveaway for the 12 months of Grandmaster subscription to World Anvil. It's super awesome, and I'm really excited for you. We will reach out to you on Twitch. We'll give you a whisper and give you all the stuff you need to activate that for you. It's super exciting. Congratulations.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch. And we thank you all for participating today. If you're watching on YouTube, again, catch us live alternating Tuesdays, 2 p.m. CST. Yeah, we've got just the usual, I suppose. Check out Die Hard Dice, check out World Anvil, our lovely sponsors for the show. And don't forget, visit nerdsmith.org/subdrive throughout the next week and so. And be sure to follow at We Are Nerdsmith in order to see what's going to be going on and going to be headed out. But yeah, that's all from me. But thank you all so much for being a part of this lovely little sesh we had today.
Yeah, you can find all of our information on nerdsmith.org/ no, just nerdsmith.org. You can find us on the content page, and you'll see all of our contact info and social media stuff, so you can find out what else we all do, and Heavenly as well. Yeah, thank you guys, and I don't have a sign-off. It's not my job to have a sign-off, Jason. We will have... Our next episode is going to be on May 7th, Tuesday, May 7th. So that's 2 weeks from now.
Tuesday, May 7th. We'll see you there. Adios, everybody, and take care.
Bye.